Welcome to this lesson. We are looking at carbon and its compounds, Form 2 chemistry. We have a question that reads, when pure carbon 4 oxide is passed over heated solid Y, carbon monoxide is formed as the only product. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. We have carbon 4 oxide going through solid Y to form carbon 2 oxide. This is carbon 4 oxide gas going through solid Y to give us carbon 2 oxide as the only product. Remember, carbon 4 oxide can only give us carbon 2 oxide if it is reacted with carbon or coke. In this case, we have a carbon 4 oxide reacting with carbon to give us carbon monoxide, also known as carbon 2 oxide. To balance the equation, we write 2 behind carbon 2 oxide. We have carbon 2 oxide going through sodium hydroxide and then being collected on the other end of this diagram. Let us go through the questions. Part A of the question names solid Y. We have already identified solid Y as carbon. Why is sodium hydroxide used in this experiment? Remember, carbon 4 oxide is being reduced with carbon into carbon 2 oxide, but the excess carbon 4 oxide that does not react with carbon will be absorbed by sodium hydroxide, and therefore the work of sodium hydroxide is to absorb unreacted carbon 4 oxide, to absorb excess or unreacted carbon 4 oxide. C. Name 2 reagents that could be used to prepare carbon 4 oxide. And carbon 4 oxide can be prepared by reacting calcium carbonate and dilute hydrochloric acid. D. Explain why the gas is collected as shown above. Remember, if you look at the way the gas is collected, it is going through water for it to be collected by upward delivery, and any gas that goes through water before it's collected has one characteristic, and that gas is insoluble in water, and therefore the perfect answer to give is that carbon 2 oxide is slightly soluble in water. We go to part E of the question. Name 2 pairs of reagents that could be used in preparing carbon 2 oxide and write equations for the reaction that occurs. 1. We can prepare carbon 2 oxide by dehydration of oxalic acid using concentrated sulfuric 6 acid. Let me use the short form of concentrated sulfuric 6 acid. Oxalic acid is written as H2C2O4. We are dehydrating oxalic acid using concentrated sulfuric acid. Remember, we are preparing carbon 2 oxide gas, and concentrated sulfuric acid removes water elements from oxalic acid. Remember, one carbon is gone, so we have one carbon extra. We have already taken out 2 oxygen atoms, and therefore what is remaining here is 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms, which gives us carbon 4 oxide. 2, we can also do that by dehydrating methanoic acid, that is HCOOH, using concentrated sulfuric 6 acid. If we take methanoic acid, we dehydrate it using concentrated sulfuric 6 acid. Remember, the work of concentrated sulfuric acid is to remove water elements, and therefore with the removal of water elements we remain with carbon 2 oxide, and therefore what remains is 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen, which form water in that particular manner. Thank you for watching and welcome to this discussion. And in case you have just come across this channel for the first time, kindly take 1 second and click the subscribe button.